What's going on, Rebel fans, and welcome back to another Runnin' with the Rebel show. I'm your host, Rafael Gonzalez, and it's a good week one. It's a good week one for us. We played better. I'm not going to say like tremendously better, but we did play much better than the week zero performance that we had against the FCS opponent, Idaho State. And yeah, and so we're gonna go into it. We're gonna break down the game. This is the day after report. It's gonna be 2 days after because there was a bunch of football on yesterday, and I wanted to catch UCLA play. I wanted to catch some of the Mountain West opponents that we might be playing this later this year, and so I took a day off from the day after report to kind of scout some of the teams, so that way my future videos are a little bit better, so I understand the opponents and whatnot. But like I was saying earlier, we played much better defensively. We got just off the top of my head, we did get a lot more pressure on the ball. We had about what was it, seven tackles for losses? Yeah, 4 sacks, and so we did much better of getting to the ball. Amaris Brown did get 2 of those sacks and 3 of those tackle for losses, but it's because the defensive line played much better in kind of gobbling up those offensive linemen and catching their attention. So that way he was able to run free to the quarterback from the outside on any blitzes that were called for him. I think we do have to shore up our coverage a little bit more. Not a ton of pass deflections again, like I was talking about last week, but I think we did a much better job overall. Some of the things that we can definitely work on though is going to be tackling. We definitely need to wrap up and kind of bring those running backs or those ball carriers down on that initial tackler, that first tackler that comes. We're kind of missing that wrap up and that tackle multiple times on that initial tackler. But I will say that we did slightly better on the defensive end. That second half kind of got away from us, and they still got 300 and what was it, 300, almost 350 yards of total offense. It's 332 that I'm seeing here. So still a decent amount of yards, but we cut down the yardage a lot from week zero. And so I think that's a good sign showing progression, and that's a really good thing, I think, as long as we can keep moving in that direction and progressing. We One thing I will say also is we need to stop giving up the big plays. The big plays are killing us. 2 times in the fourth quarter, Sam Houston State had a 4th and 1. It was very short, 4th and short, and we ended up giving a 53-yard run on one of them and a 59-yard pass, which was just a short little dink pass to the outside. You miss the initial tackle. He runs all the way. The run again was an inside run right up the middle, and the linebackers kind of pushed up and clogged the line, and there was no like second kind of line to kind of stop that initial breakthrough on the run. Uh, if you give up a first down in both those instances, I think it's okay because it's in the fourth quarter. You kill a lot of clock. I'm not saying that's what you want to do, but you can't sit there and give up the huge play because it kind of got them back in the game there at the end, and it created a kind of a problem for us of complacency in the second half with the offense too, because the offense was hitting on all cylinders in the first half, and then they kind of tailored off in that second half, and we didn't get much going after we scored that initial touchdown in the third quarter, I believe. I think we did get a touchdown late as well, but we did a much better job in the first half of putting the foot on the gas, and then the second half we kind of just fell off. And so with defense tackling, like I said, needs to be shoring up. We need to wrap up on that initial tackler, and that way you have your teammates come and pursue and help out, and kind of stop these big gains from happening, and then stop giving up the huge plays, like I was saying. The pressure was really good. The inside defensive linemen uh, were able to push up. There was a lot of times the edges would kind of break to the inside and get a lot of pressure on Hunter Watson, who I thought was the worst quarterback in that instance. I know the other quarterback. I don't know, Mature, whatever his name was. He did throw the really bad pick that gave us the pick six with the Morris Brown as well. Um, but overall, I think the pressure that we did was much better on the line. The line probably had the best improvement from week zero to week one, in my opinion. We were able to get a ton of tackles for losses. We were able to get 4 sacks when we essentially got none in week 0 because the one that we did get was on an intentional grounding call. And so I thought we did a lot better job defensively like that. We clean up a couple more things, and the defense is possibly hitting strides. Uh, the offense was kind of what I expected. I know it was a Debbie Downer in that second half because we could have done much better. But I predicted us to score 38 points. We scored 38 points. They did what they had to do in the first half, and then we kind of cruised to complacency in the second half, which allowed them to kind of come back into the game. And yeah, we need to shore up offensively what we're doing for all 4 quarters because it was really really good in the first half, and then it was kind of bad in the second half. So, but in the receiver room, Bradley's a star. Jaden Bradley, I think, is going to be a star this year. I think he has 1,000 yard season. He's already had 2 games where he has over 100 yards. He's able to consistently get separation on his route running. His route running looks really good. He's got great hands. That one deep pass, the 49 yarder that he caught was he even got hit on his hands initially. If you have the DVR, go back and look at it. DB was able to get his hands in on his hands, and he was still able to make the catch. The kid's going to be a star. JoJo Oro stepped up a little bit too, 4 receptions for 66 yards, so he kind of did his thing. My disappointment is Troy Amari. Amari. I'm not going to go too much into it. He only had 1 reception. He had some high hopes coming in on the receiving room. But my big thing was on the onside kick too. It almost looked like he had hands of steel. It looked like almost like he was trying to run before catching the ball almost on an onside kick when really you should just be securing the ball and dropping down to the ground. That's the big thing with an onside kick is just fall to the ground. There's no need to make a play, right? I know you want to sometimes and you're trying to make something happen out of nothing, but it ended up almost getting Sam Houston back in the game. We ended up stopping him thankfully on the defensive side there. But if they go down and score a touchdown, it's now a 10-point game with like 4 or 3 minutes left or whatever. Granted, we still probably win that game, but it makes the game a lot closer than it should have been if our defense doesn't get a stop for us there because we don't secure the onside kick towards the end of the game there. And my other concern offensively is going to be why did Jet not get the ball as much as I thought he should? I know some people are saying, oh, he's beat up and they're trying to save him, this, that, and the third. But to me, he didn't look like he was super hurt. He ended up coming in the fourth quarter. He got a big run there late in the fourth quarter. I think it was the longest run that he had of the day. It was a 27-yard run, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Why don't we run him more? It seems every time that he gets the ball, yeah, he has an explosive nature to him. Kevon Lee did good. He was serviceable, in my opinion. Some people said he did great, but I don't think it was that great. I think he did serviceable. He had good yardage on the amount of carries that he had. But when it came to like the big time downs, 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, a couple times that we had, he immediately got stuffed at the line. First tackler hit him. He went down. We end up having to punt the ball away or whatever the case may be. I want to see a little bit more harder running from him on those big down situations, those 3rd and shorts when we really need those first downs. Whereas it seemed Jet always seems to kind of wiggle his room, wiggle his way through and get the first down when needed in those big time situations like that. So I don't understand why we're not running Jet more. Um, that's something that I definitely want to see more moving on is him getting even if it's just 15 carries, but him getting the majority load of the carries. He only had 9 carries today. Not today, but the Friday when the game was played. And Kevon Lee had 7. And Anthony Calandria obviously getting 6 carries too. Calandria, speaking of, did great. He did great. I know he had the 1 interception. It was a bad decision, I think, on his part. Probably either should just run it or just throw it out of bounds, right? Run it, take the 1 yard run or whatever they give you, or just chuck it out of bounds and live to play another day. He tried to force the ball deep. He ended up underthrowing the ball. He gave up the pick. But if even counting the pick, he went 19 of 23 for 249 yards, had 2 passing touchdowns through the air, and then also, like I said earlier, had 6 carries for 23 yards and had a touchdown. He had a 13-yard carry there late in the game for a touchdown as well. So he's doing a fantastic job. But offensively, I think we need to protect the ball slightly better. He had the 1 pick like we were talking about, and then we had 2 fumbles If people don't remember in the game, Calandra earlier in the game tried to hand it off to Kevon Lee, I believe it was, and it was a missed connection, as I guess you would call it, between him and the running back, and they end up dropping the ball. We were able to jump back on it, and then another one was a pass outside to JoJo Earl. He went to cut up, and when he did, he got hit, fumbled the ball. Thankfully, we were on the sidelines, and the ball flew out of bounds. And so, if we don't get both of those back, this game's a lot closer than it should be too. So protecting the ball is an issue still for us. We need to make sure that we're securing that ball on offense, especially if our defense is going to give up a little bit more points than we would like. So, other than that, I think we did fairly well. Nothing really to talk about in the return game. We did have the interception, the pick six. So Mars Brown in the first half had a pick six. The quarterback for Sam Houston State crossed the line on a legal forward pass, threw it, and he just really underthrew the ball. It looked like he had a receiver coming across above Amaris Brown, but he just completely underthrew the ball. Amaris Brown was sitting underneath, was able to pick it and run it back for a touchdown for us. So recapping, offense was kind of what I expected. I wish we could have got a little bit more points on the board, but we kind of stuttered and stumbled there in the second half. And defensively, we played much. I'll say much better. We still gave up almost 350 yards of offense, which is like average, and I expect the defense to kind of do that week in and week out, unless we can shore up our tackling a little bit here. So that is going to be this week's Running with the Rebels show, the day after report. We have a big game coming up this week, guys, against UCLA. So anybody who hasn't come down to see the Rebels, if you're in Vegas, we're 2-0 now, and we got a big game against UCLA. UCLA kind of disappointing in their first game. They got blown out 43-10 against Utah, but Utah looks like a good team. They look like they're going to be very formidable in the Big 12. So I expect UCLA to kind of try to bounce back and get a dub here on the road against us. So we're going to have to bring our A game and make sure we're ready to go. As always, guys, if you enjoy the content, probably should say this at the beginning of the videos too, but if you do enjoy the content and like the commentary that I provide here for the Rebels, please hit a subscribe and a like. It means the world to me. It helps the channel grow here and get it out to more Rebel fans on the YouTube universe. And later on this week, I will be doing the Week 2 preview for us against UCLA. I will kind of break down both games that we played last week, kind of give my predictions. I probably won't keep the same format. I don't know if you guys liked it as much, but we got a little bit less views on the format that I had last week with the editing that I did. So we'll probably just keep it as a talking head commentary like I'm doing right now. I might put some box score stats up if I can. I might do some test videos on YouTube this week to see if I can put the box score up from ESPN or CBS Sports or anything like that. And if I can, we'll definitely have a visual of some of the box scores and the stats that we go over. And then I'll give my predictions as well for the Week 2 preview. Other than that, as always, Rebel fans, stay sharp, stay focused. Go UNLV. UNLV, go fight, win. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.